So what is the Guru doing here? He's wanting the disciple to realize himself how inappropriate is his argument. Rather, it is just an imaginary theory. The theory, which is just, or concept, whatever you want to take, is just imaginary. There can be nothing like this. So that will be explained in the next link. So, when contemplating upon the answer to the question posed in verse 62, there seems two possible options. It is said that such experience depends on the body. If it is said that this experience of the creation of the soul and the destruction of the soul, this experience depends on the body, it is not possible, as the body does not have the attribute of knowingness. So that option is eliminated. Therefore, cannot know the creation and destruction of the soul. In verse 62 itself, the Guru negated the first option, as the body is inanimate, has a form, is visible, all that. Now in verse 63, what new thing is going to tell? The Guru gives the solution to the second option. Body option is gone. Second option, because there are only two substances, body and soul. So body option is gone. So whether the soul is the knower, soul does possess the property of knowingness. So now the only option is the soul can know its creation or origination and destruction. How illogical this is, and such an experience is totally unthinkable, is going to be proved by the Guru in this verse. So showing how the option that the creation and destruction of the soul is known by consciousness, meaning the soul, is not possible, the Sadguru says.
जेना अनुभववश्ये उत्पन्न लयनो ज्ञान ते तेथि जुदा विना थाय न के में भान.
Jena anubhava vashyaye, upon whom the experience of Utpanna Layanu Gnan. We are talking of Utpanna Laya of the soul. Utpanna Layanu Gnan, the creation and the destruction of the soul, upon whom the experience of this creation and destruction of the soul depends. Te, that entity, tethi juda vina, thayana ke meban. It has to be by, you can say it's a matter of principle that if you want to know the creation and destruction of one substance, that knower has to be different from that substance. I'll explain. It's logic, common sense rather. So, te tethi juda vina thayana ke mema. It has to be separate from it to know it. You might find it difficult. It's very simple. It's so simple, that's why you're finding it difficult. Short meaning. One who claims to know the birth and death of the soul must be different from it. It meaning the soul. What am I saying? If I want to know the creation and destruction of myself, because I'm the soul, okay? And I want to know the creation and destruction of the soul, I must be separate from the soul. What am I saying? Separate from the body, okay, fine. If you want to know the creation and destruction of the body and you should be separate, that knower entity has to be separate from the body, common sense lage. So here it is a matter of principle that if you want to know that this substance just took birth or originated or created or it is destroyed, at least I have to be separate, no? See, two words I'll use and you'll understand. I need to be prior to the creation of this substance. To know, 26 September, born. But I should be before, I should be prior to the existence of this. What is this? Soul. So I have to be before the soul is born. See how weird I'm speaking. How funny, how strange, how unthinkable, how stupid. And to say, this soul died. I don't want to give you the date, go to panic pages. Huh? So the soul died on this day. To know that the soul died, I have to survive the death of the soul, no? At least for 2 minutes. जो आ सोल मारो सोल हूँ सोल 10:30 मरी गयो टू से दैट आई हैव नोन द डेथ ऑफ द सोल एटलीस्ट I have to live for till 10:45, right? To know that at 10:30 the soul died. Now who is this I? Soul. But we are talking of the soul. Your question was so illogical. What can the guru do? I'll try to explain it in a different way. See, the guru is asking the disciple to think about who can legitimately be held to know the creation and destruction of the soul. Body I will not be talking because you are clear, no, that the body can't. Huh? So body. I have 3 options. So first option is the body. So body, everybody is clear? मतलब आखू repeat करूँ. So it does not even know itself. What will it know about some other substance? Creation and destruction stuff. It doesn't even know that it itself exists. The body itself exists, the body does not know. The body was born, it does not know. The body will be destroyed, it will not know. Why? Because it's a dumb person? No, because it does not have the property of knowingness. So, no question regarding knowing the creation and destruction of other substance. So, body option is gone. Now, second option. I will create one more option. Second option will say the soul. The soul itself knows the creation and destruction of soul. See, it's better I use some pronouns for this. Then you will know the weirdness of the argument. I myself know my creation and my destruction. How does it sound? I know my creation and my destruction. Okay, I'll make it easy. If A knows that B is born, if A knows, should I use some names or this is fine, A and B? This is fine? Huh? Repeat करिए કેટલાકને તો આટલામાં બી નહીં સમજાય એમ. So if A knows the, you want to see the time also? No. So if A knows the creation of B, A has to be present prior to the creation of B. Come on. Difficult છે? ડિફિકલ્ટ લાગે તો રાજુને પૂછી જોજો સાંજના એનું માથું ખાજો તો 2 જણ ઊભા રહો એટલે ખબર પડે ચાલ નેમી અને મૌલિક ઊભા રહો. If this makes it easier. So if Maulik ji has to know the birth or say the creation of Nemi ji, not through someone else, he has to witness it. At least he has to be present before his birth to see him taking birth and know that now Nemi ji is created. So he should be before, right? So the B, if A, sorry, he's the A, right? You are A. So A has to know the creation of B. A has to be present before the creation of B. This is easy because these two are different entities. But if I am saying what is A, soul, and what is B, soul, then it turns out to be so weird. આ બે છે એટલે તમે કહો obviously he has to be elder. If he said I've seen Nemiji being born, so obviously at least a day early, at least minimum. પણ એક દિવસનો બાળક ન જાણે એટલે you should be little. In the same way, if A, this is A, if A has to say that I have seen B dying, destruction of the soul, B, he should survive B. At least by one day say. આજે મેં જાણ્યું કે આ નેમીજી મરી ગયા અને કાલે હું જ મરી જાઉં. Maybe. But at least one day, 1 minute, 1 moment I have to survive. So that's fine. કોઈ આ કેસમાં ઉલટું બી થાય ના આઈ થિંક આ જ જશે પહેલાં એવું લાગે. જે રીતે એની ફૂડ હેબિટ્સ છે તમારા બેમાં એ જ જશે. તમારા બેમાં ડિફરન્સ કેટલો છે? 6 years or so. So every week I remind Nemiji કે આપણા બે વચ્ચે 17 yearsનો ડિફરન્સ છે. દેહની વાત કરું છું. આત્મા અમારું બંને એજલેસ, ટાઈમલેસ, એન્ડલેસ છે. એટલે એને આત્મદ્રષ્ટિ છે ને મને દેહ દ્રષ્ટિ છે. એટલે હું કહું કે આપણા બે વચ્ચે 17 વર્ષનો ડિફરન્સ છે. થોડું તો બાપ જેવું રાખ સંબંધ મારા માટે. 17 years means like father and son. But I've never felt like that. Maybe I'm little immature, he's over mature, I don't know why, but we are good friends. But કોકો કહું કે ફાધર જેટલું રિસ્પેક્ટ તો આપ મને બીજું કાંઈ નહીં. સો આ બે વચ્ચે તો 6 વર્ષનો ડિફરન્સ ટુ મેક ઇટ લાઇટ. એકચ્યુઅલી આટલું કોમ્પ્લિકેટેડ નથી. હી જસ્ટ વોન્ટ્સ ટુ સે કે બટ નોબડી હેઝ નોન ધ ક્રિએશન એન્ડ ડિસ્ટ્રક્શન એન્ડ યુ જસ્ટ વોન્ટ ટુ પ્રૂવ ઇટ. It's not possible. You want me to repeat this or it's fine? Huh? સમજાય કે તો બેસી જાઓ. If A has to know the creation of B, A has to be present prior to the creation of B. To know the creation of B. If A has to know the destruction or extinction of B, A has to survive the death of B. To know the death of B. Correct? So, meaning, if I want to know the creation of this, or this creation and destruction of B, A has to be separate from B. Because આ તો destroy થઈ જવાનું છે. And this entity is going to know the destruction of B. So that is what is said, તેથી જુદા વિના થાય ને કેમે ભાન. At least A and B have to be separate, no? To know the creation and destruction of B, A has to be separate from B. Now let's substitute. What is B? Soul, because we are here to find out the creation and destruction of the soul. So what is B? And what can possibly be A? So okay, the body or the soul. Possible, 2 options. Body is yet an option. It's gone, no, in the last verse. So now what are you saying? The soul, એટલે આમ જાણે જન્મતા soul knew. And marta, when the soul was getting destroyed, the soul knew, I'm getting destroyed. That is also fine. Umaru chu. And then to survive and tell the whole world that the soul gets destroyed. It has to survive, no? If it's dead, who told that the soul gets destroyed? My purpose is to just make it complicated. If I'm successful, tell me, I'll go ahead. This is illogical. That's what the Guru... So much logic when he's experiencing the soul also. And see the logic, the way he can express his realization of himself. મને સમજાવતા આટલો ટાઈમ લાગે, તમને સમજતા આટલો ટાઈમ લાગે. અને કોઈને લખતા આટલો ટાઈમ નહીં લાગ્યો. And you think when you had gone for an evening walk, he must be so logically setting A and B, and if A has to survive B and all, આ બધું મનમાં ચાલતું હશે? Is it possible? અને મતાર્થીના લક્ષણો ચાલતા હશે અને આત્માર્થીના લક્ષણો ચાલતા અને ઉપસંવાર. So much knowledge present at one moment is only marvel. તમે અભ્યાસ બી કર્યો હોય, સ્ટડી બી કર્યું હોય, different શાસ્ત્રસ, but all to be present at one time, that itself is difficult. You make notes, you write them, then you collect it, પછી બપોરના હું એવું ઇમેજિન કરું છું, ઇટ મે બી ઇમેજિનરી ઓલ્સો, કે પછી તમે બેસો, પછી તમે બધાનું કે ઓ દેટ પોઈન્ટ આઈ હેડ નોટ રિટન ડાઉન, ઓકે દેટ પોઈન્ટ, એ કલેક્ટ કરો, એ ડેટા આખું કલેક્ટ કરો, પછી નીટલી કોપી કરો, પછી પાછો એક છેકો આવો એટલે પાનું ફાડી નાખવાનું, પછી ફરીથી નીટલી કરવાનું. હા, બિકોઝ જેના છેકા વિનાના હોય ને એને હું સારા સારા લાભ આપવાનો જ પ્રતિષ્ઠામાં. શિખર પર જાય ને એવા બધા લાભ, ધજા પર ચડશે, ઇન્દ્ર બનીને અભિષેક કરશે, જેટલું નીટ. અને આઈ ક્રિએટેડ, because I can create, right? I'm creating a team. Every page they will check. બે પેજમાં હેન્ડરાઇટિંગ ડિફરન્ટ હશે તો it will be rejected. કે someone else has written for you. અહીંયા છો ત્યાં સુધી તો તમને મજા આવે છે, પણ પાછા તમે તમારા રિસ્પેક્ટિવ સિટીઝમાં જાઓ પછી એમ થાય કે તું લખી દે ને હું સીધું કોપી કરી દઉં. નો પ્રોબ્લેમ, દેટ ઇઝ ઓલ્સો નો પ્રોબ્લેમ. હાઉ વિલ માય ટીમ નો દેટ યુ હેવ જસ્ટ કોપીડ? ઓનલી ઇફ યુ આર વેરી નીટ દે વિલ ફાઇન્ડ આઉટ દેટ ઇટ ઇઝ કોપીડ. If you are making notes, તો એકાદ છેકો તો થાય. એટલે ઇન્ટરનલી આઈ હેવ ટોલ્ડ ધેમ કે if there is no, if it's very very neat, it goes into second option. Why am I making it so dramatic, A and B and all? Why? Because the disciple had said that the body and soul originate together, are created together, and they destroy it. Deha yog thi upache, deha yoga. Now see, what I'm going to say now is the most important thing. The disciple has said their birth is together, their death is together. Konu? The body and soul or consciousness, right? So here, the body itself has to survive the death of the soul to know the death of the soul, the destruction of the soul. But body, obviously body doesn't know and it's not going to say. It does not know and it does not going to say. But because the argument was that they both are created together and destroyed together, here itself it is proved that to know the destruction of the soul, the knower, whoever it is, has to survive the destruction of the soul to know and tell. હું થાકી ગયો છું. True? Oh God. So you are saying the body option is not there, body does not know itself, body does not know the soul, body does not know the creation and destruction of the soul. The body does not even know whether the soul is momentary or eternal. Nothing it knows. ચલો હવે એક એક ઓપ્શન આપણે ડ્રોપ કરીએ. So body option is gone. Body knows the creation and destruction of the soul. That option is gone. Why, Rushabh? Why? Why that option is eliminated? Because you have to go to London, that's why.
No, because it's lifeless, it's just matter, it has no
Consciousness.
consciousness.
So no knowing element, so it is not going to know. So one option is dropped, okay. Now second option, the soul. Soul is the knower. So it is the only entity which can know. So the soul knows its creation and destruction. That we saw, it is illogical. It's not even a possibility. Because you have to survive your destruction to know that you have destroyed. Now, what am I saying? You are understanding? હા, મને લાગે છે મારું શુગર લો થઈ ગયું છે, આઈ એમ બ્લેબરિંગ એવું લાગે છે મને. I, the soul, should survive my destruction to know my destruction and tell everyone. Okay, fine. Then survive. Then you are not, then you become eternal. If you want to survive your destruction, means you are permanent. You are understanding? So, if you have understood it's something funny there, I think you have understood the verse. Okay, the body does not know, the soul cannot know. Tethi juda vina thaya na ke meman. How can you know the destruction of the soul without being separate from the soul and surviving the destruction of the soul? How can you? And being prior, your existence should be prior to the creation of the soul also. Then only you can say created this date, destroyed this date. I think now the only option left is maybe there is a third agency. One agency is the body, not possible. One agency is the knower, the soul itself, that does not even, it's not even logical. Forget it is based on evidence. Forget evidence, even बुद्धिमत सेट થતું નથી આંખમાં તો કેવી રીતે સેટ થશે empirically તો how will it be proved when it's not being proved even in by logic, only in your buddhi, you don't even need to see. 2 plus 2 4 at least sets, mathematics sets in your logic. So we were actually 1 year I have done mathematics is different, logic. And whole UK is the philosophy of logical atomism and logical positivism. A wonderful philosophy given by UK, and I have done it for 1 year. I liked it. Never want to become British. બધું લોજિકમાં જ સેટ થવું જોઈએ, નથિંગ. ઇવન એક્સપિરિયન્સ લોજિકમાં સેટ થઈને એક્સપિરિયન્સ ન હોય તો બી માનવાનું. એક્સપિરિયન્સ હોય પણ લોજિકમાં સેટ ન થતો હોય તો નહીં માનવાનું. એટલું બધું તે સ્ટિક ટુ લોજિક એન્ડ ટુ એટમ સુધી, to the base it will go. So no emotions. If your guru is a Sadguru, you have to prove it by logic. You cannot say so much upkar I have widowed and so much transformation. No. So logical atomism will not accept all this. You have to go to the last atom. I don't want to start all that. So body gone, soul gone. The only possibility is if there is a third agency which is different from the soul, separate from the soul, and it's still knower, conscious. Body to gayu, it's separate, but it's not the knower. The soul is the knower, but it has to be prior to its creation, so it does not set logically. So only if there is a third agency, which is a knower also, and separate from the soul also, then I think that agency can, because it's a knower, it's conscious, and because it's separate from the soul, it can tell about the creation and destruction of the soul. So that is possible, but there is no other agency. I said if there was. And if you want to say that third agency told me in my dreams, okay, then prove that existence. આટલો તો ચાલો આત્માને prove કરતા તો ઠૂસ નીકળી ગયો છે. So you have not given any evidence of the third agency, like there's something like God or Brahma or someone who is separate from the soul. It is merely an imagination. And the disciple એવો નવરો બેઠો હશે તો જાત જાતના તુક્કા ચલાવે રાખે છે. Maybe he wants to keep the guru busy. But he has not supplied any evidence for the third agency or anything. So only possible if there is a third agency, but the guru says, in my experience, there is no third agency. But if you have any evidence, prove it, and that I'll prove it in the third pad. third pad, the soul is the doer, and there is nothing like God as a creator. When I say God here, I mean God as the creator of the universe, creator of the soul, prompter of all the soul's activities. ઈશ્વર પ્રેરણા. People say, ગુરુદેવ મારા સપનામાં આવ્યા ને મને કીધું આ કર. Possible છે. But there is nothing like God, because then God is responsible for all the murders. Because it's because he prompted and induced, instigated and inspired, whatever you want to use. એમાં બી 4 options. ઈશ્વર પ્રેરણા શબ્દ આવશે ને એટલે ઈશ્વર ઈચ્છા. Suddenly you want to become great. When you are awarded something, you want to become great, the doer. And suppose you make a mistake, ઈશ્વર પ્રેરણા, હરી ઈચ્છા. તું તો નહીં બોલ, તું નહીં બોલ. Only Haris can say હરી ઈચ્છા. Papis like you can't even use the word hari. So all that we'll be discussing about the third agency, we'll be discussing in the third part. You see how interconnected are these? Okay. So body gone, soul gone, there is no third agency, and so it is not momentary. But why is it not why is it not destructible, or why is it permanent? Why is it eternal? That will be explained in the next 3 verses. So be ready for the wonderful session tomorrow. Let's sing the verse.
जेना अनुभव वश्य ए उत्पन्न लयનું જ્ઞાન તેથી જુદા વિના થાય ન કે મે ભાન